Oh, I should probably start recording on my end. Okay, I'm good now too.
All
It
right.
said started broadcasting. I'm going to go
All
to
right.
Twitch to
I'm
double
gonna
check here. God, don't do that.
It says we're live on YouTube. Oh God, and we look good.
Do we? That's awesome. Well, if we're live on YouTube, I kind of want to just bring up the stream. So
I know. I'll watch the YouTube chat if there is one.
I have so many videos up right now, or like tabs up myself. It's kind of insane. All right. That's fine. Next round on me. That's us. I think we're Gucci, dude.
All right. Awesome.
Oh, it's buffering for me.
So yeah, and I look like I'm still recording just fine in GarageBand, and my mic is hooked up, and I got audio going.
Cool. I think I just have too many things up at once. My stream keeps buffering, but hopefully that's just on my end. But
no, you look good. You look good on the video too. I'm looking at. Do I look good?
You look great, dude. You look amazing.
Oh, thank you. I know. I just need to like get my setup a little bit. Like I'm looking this way. I'm looking at the screen. I'm all the way over here, but I have my GarageBand on this one. Maybe I'll do a little switcheroo. Hold on, just so I'm like looking at the webcam.
Oh, I've never cared about that, honestly. Oh, so the only downside to this, Dan, just so you know, is that you still are going to have the logins to the Twitch. So you're going to have to change our title again. We're in the correct like category.
Oh, yeah. Good. That's fine. Yeah, I know. What I did this time was I scheduled us on YouTube. Last night I looked up how to schedule it. That's why I put that little stream scheduled up. So right now, everyone, our live stream is saying the correct title. I just didn't have time last night to actually go in and do it for Twitch. So that's what I'm going to do next time for Twitch.
Okay, cool. That's fine.
So yeah, because I'm just more familiar with YouTube, obviously. But I will fix that for next time. So, God, that was fun. So we can just we could get into it.
Cool.
Well, hello everyone, anyone that's watching us on the live stream, which is no one. So I can kind of just say anything I want right now. So man, how has your week been? God, this has been crazy.
It's been crazy, dude. There's
drama.
There's just a lot of work drama, and everybody all my friends always ask me like, what's going on? Why is there always so much drama at your work? And I'm like, dude, just imagine trying to make 12 different women happy every single day. That's what I try to do, and it's just an impossibility. It really is. And my example that I'll go to, which just happened recently, was we have AC is broken in our lobby.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been 80 degrees in our lobby area. So I announced to all the parents who drop their kids off, like, hey, just so you know, there's air conditioning in the gym, so the kids will be fine. But in the lobby, we're kind of miserable out here. So I like make an announcement, let all the parents know, hey, you're more than welcome to hang around. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you're also more than welcome to drop them off and leave for an hour and come back and pick them up, because we give them that option once they turn 3. And now I have instructors who will go into the gym and still say it's too hot in the gym, it's too cold in the gym, and you just can't make everybody happy. And that's the easy, simple stuff. There's a lot more stuff that I don't want to get into. That's just
right.
Like, it's everything. So it's part of being a manager and trying to make everybody happy, but it's also, you just never win, but you just got to be okay with it. So
what are you, yeah, God, I hear that. What are you doing tomorrow? You're going to Pittsburgh? Is that top secret, confidential, or what are you doing?
No, it's actually kind of funny. I'm in contact with like 4 like close friends of mine at this point that I met at some point during college, but I actually wasn't super close with some of them until after college, because we didn't talk as much, because I had like a little group in college. And then when I graduated, I actually stayed in contact with more of the quote nerds because we're still all on our computers and we still communicate like almost on a daily basis because we play games together. So the guys that I'm seeing tomorrow or for this weekend, we're going to like a lake house somewhere in Pittsburgh. I don't even know.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen some of these guys since, I hate saying this, dude, I graduated college in 2014, so that's like 8 years ago. So I haven't seen, and these were the guys that I was super close with, but these were all guys that like I was very active in college. So we would do like beach volleyball and basketball and soccer, and like we'd hang out and do active stuff together. So I was like really close with them during college. But then when we left college, a lot of them got married. Some of them are having their third child at this point. And I just haven't been able, all of us have not been able to like stay in contact. So I'm seeing some of those guys tomorrow. So it's very exciting. It's going to be interesting because some of us haven't seen each other literally in like 6 to 8 years.
Wow.
So yeah, but I'm excited, but it's like 6 hours. It's like a little over a 6 hour drive. And I'm not looking forward to that at all. So
that's cool though. A lake house.
Yeah, I think one of them got a wakeboard, so I'm assuming there's a boat. It's been very disorganized. I'm literally in the middle of texting them now because I leave early tomorrow morning, and I don't know if I need to bring food or bedding.
Right.
I don't know what's happening, but it's only going to be for Friday night and Saturday, and then I have to come back Sunday. But I'm excited. It's going to be fun. Just don't want to drive 6 hours and then hang out for 18 hours and then, drive back.
No.
But yeah, well, how are things with you, dude?
Things are good. Things are, moving along at the job. I'm still waiting on some stuff like we talked about before. So making some moves upward the corporate ladder. I'll put it that way. A little vague, but yeah, so I'm in a good spot right now. The talks I'm having with my manager, I'm feeling confident of where we're at. So then it's just a matter of bringing it to, the person that really matters and in this situation and convincing them of my value and, if I'm going to be able to pay my bills or not. But no. So not literally, but so yeah, no, it's good though. I'm just at this point, it is what it is. I did everything I have to do. Now it's just up to, we'll see. But dude, it has been like such an off week. I don't know what has been going on. I have slept so much this week. I haven't been to the gym once. I think that might have something to do with it. And then I get into work and I'm super productive and I do anything, but I just feel like a zombie. And I just have slept so much this week. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I need a vacation. I think I need just a break from the everyday rut, just the everyday routine. It's just the same thing. But yeah, this week has just been so weird. And it's like, whenever you have like an off week, you start kind of like thinking to yourself, like, okay, now I think I believe in horoscopes now, just because I'm having that's what you use in your mind to justify it, like having a bad week or not a bad week, just an off week. I just feel so off. I don't understand. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, it just must be the horoscopes. Like, it just must be, I'm just supposed to have a bad week, and then I just start like making excuses for everything. No,
I'm going to go with the gym, honestly, because I'm the same way, man. I've been bad with the gym for the last like 2-3 weeks, honestly. And it really messes you up, man. It messes up your sleep schedule. Then you try to like start sleeping more, but it actually like almost hurts you more. And it's like, you really just need to go be active. So I feel that. And I've been bad the last 3 weeks.
I'm like, I'm getting tons of sleep and I just don't want to wake. I just want to sleep so much. But then it's like the next day, just go into work. It's like I leave work and I feel like I left work for like 2 hours. And then the next thing I know, it's like back to go into the office. And then it's just, so I did some self-care and I took off tomorrow. So thank fucking God.
For you. Nice.
Yeah, I have a 3-day weekend. Oh my God. I'm just, it's just nonstop. But yeah, so it's good, but but so yeah, welcome to Next Round on Me, everyone. By the way, I think we should do some housekeeping. We are currently.
Oh no!
What?
Is there more? I had to do housekeeping last week so that we didn't get canceled. So when I hear housekeeping again,
no
I get nervous.
one was gonna cancel us.
We were basically canceled. We were done for unless I specified what I was trying to say. So
Josh was getting death threats.
What's the housekeeping today? What do we got?
Yeah, but we're currently live on Twitch and we're currently live on YouTube. I know we mentioned it in the last one. We're trying to figure this out, see if this works. Sorry if there's any technical difficulties.
Figure out. We are amazing, okay? We are literally streaming on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. We're going to be on Apple, Spotify. We're basically professionals at this
exactly.
Point, so.
It's great. So, yeah, sorry if our audio has kind of shifted in quality over the episodes, but I'm hoping now that we got it down, our audio is going to be fine. From here on out, it's just going to be smooth sailing. And now my computer's going to start smoking and stuff. So, but yeah, no.
This is why we need to start a GoFundMe, dude. We were trying to buy Daniel Streams a new computer here so we can provide better content, quality content for you guys. So please go donate to the GoFundMe page. Thank you.
The Patreon is going to be up soon. I'm going to make
the Patreon. Yes.
Don't worry. So anyway, yeah, just follow us on Instagram, Next Round on Me Pod, for all of the updates and just when we go live and everything. And if you want to ask us any questions about anything about movies, TVs, shows, any crap that we talk about, if you want to, confront Josh on his questionable stances on political issues, you can,
Why is it only me, dude?
ask us any questions. You can ask us any questions on Instagram, DM us anything you want us to, and we'll read it on the show. So I think that's about it. So
cool.
We can get into our first order of business. So Josh, I got to be honest. Like I said, been having an off week. Things have been weird. It's just been, my horoscopes have been all screwed up. I ran over a hobo and I just kept driving. And then I said, you know what? It just must be the horoscopes. I just must be destined to kill this man. But
oh my God.
So no, we have been watching a lot of TV lately. I haven't been watching a lot of new movies. I haven't gone to see the new Top Gun. I heard that was really good. But I have been watching Stranger Things season 4. And I wanted to just briefly mention that.
Everybody's been talking about it lately, honestly. So I'm very curious on what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, I'll give like a spoiler-free just kind of overview on what I thought about it. I know you, Josh, you're familiar with Stranger Things. You've seen the first season, but you kind of fell off of it.
First season. I don't even want to say I fell off of it. I just want to say I didn't connect with it as much as a lot of other people did. And after I finished season 1, I wasn't drawn to continue. I was probably watching other things, anime and such. So I have not continued. I enjoyed the first season, just not enough, I guess, to continue on. So
yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, so I've watched Stranger Things from the first season, and the new season was coming out. This show is famous for it'll take like 5 years in between seasons before the new season comes out. So they finally dropped season 4. I think they're only going to go to 5 seasons, but this is the second to last season, supposedly, from what I understand. And I didn't really know what to expect going into it. I thought maybe the show was running out a little bit of steam. I thought it's been away for so long at this point. Is anyone really going to care about the new season of Stranger Things coming out? This season of Stranger Things has no business being as fucking great as it is.
Wow. Okay.
I cannot say enough amazing things about the new season of Stranger Things. It is some of the best TV I've seen in a long time. It's actually, it has no business being this good. So yeah, it was insane. I couldn't believe how amazing every episode. It was 7 episodes from start to finish. Every episode's like an hour. Me and Marissa just kept turning to each other and being like, I can't believe how good this season is. It's insane. So, season 1 came out, season 2 came out. And it was pretty good. It was Stranger Things has been around for so long. It's essentially been Netflix's like OG series. Like it's a Netflix produced show. I always think of Stranger Things as being like the original Netflix hit. Like Stranger Things, I think Stranger Things 1 came out in like 2014 or something ridiculous like that. It came out a long time ago. Like these kids were babies when the show first came out. So it was so long ago. Then Stranger Things 2 came out, and that was really well received. It was just it was never a bad show. It just, then Stranger Things 3 came out a few years ago, the previous season, and I remember watching that, and it was really good, but it just kind of felt like they were just kind of spinning their wheels a little bit on the show. Like, they almost felt like every season after season 3 was like, okay, you just seem like you're doing the same thing every time, where it's like the kids ride around on bikes and it's really cool and 80s nostalgia, and they're fighting the demons and the upside down, and then shit happens in the town of Hawkins, and then at the end of the season 11 does something to save the day, and then they all go back to fucking off and doing whatever, right? It didn't really ever feel like, I mean, I'm simplifying it a lot, but it never really felt like the show was progressing into anything. It just felt like every season after season 3, it was like, okay, you got to like start pushing the story along a little bit, right? So then we get season 4 finally. And again, I was thinking, and like season 3 was they had one weird subplot about 11's past, and it just was, I had a weird feeling like I had no faith in this new season. I was like, I think Stranger Things is going to come out. It's been gone for like 5 years. I think it's going to come and no one's going to care about it, or it's going to just have its viewers. But I was just thinking no one's going to give a shit about Stranger Things season 4. And it's out of gas. It's just going to, I don't know. It's just where I thought it was going to go. Holy shit. Did they just knock it out of the park? Like, insane how good this season was. So basically, and I won't go into spoilers about anything, I just got to say, like, so what this season does, it's insane, because at this point in the show, we're 3 seasons in, and every character is so well developed in the show, and that's the strongest part about Stranger Things, is all these characters are so fucking good. All these kids, all the side characters, everyone is just such a well-realized character in the show that you care about. And so what they do in this season is, I'm amazed at how many times they were able to just keep adding characters. There are new characters introduced into every season that carry over. And now it's to the point where it's one of those shows where there's so many characters, it's like half of the town is like, a well-realized character in the show. It's crazy. And so the cast is like quadrupled since season 1. And what this season really did, it's hard for me to describe. It's kind of, or I kind of have like a perfect analogy. This season 4 of Stranger Things to me is kind of like their version of like Infinity War, like Avengers Infinity War. This is how, like, the structure of the show, how they set it up is kind of how it felt like to me. Because, go ahead. Did you have some?
Well, no, I mean, this is just really interesting because, yeah, okay, hold on. Let me ask one question, because, like you said, it's been like 5 years. When did Stranger Things season 3 come out? How long ago was that? Do you remember?
I almost want to say, I almost think it was pre-pandemic.
That's okay.
That's my frame of reference. Oh, it's famous for not coming. It goes away for years, and I think this season was delayed a little bit due to COVID for sure. But it's always been this joke about Stranger Things, is that these kids, those first like 2 seasons were so famous, and Millie Bobby Brown as 11 is so famous now. They're like the new child stars, and they're almost becoming too big for the show before the show's even over at this point. And they're supposed to be kids, and it's like, you keep waiting for this show to come back. Like, these kids are going to be full-grown adults by the time the show ends. Has always been the joke. But yeah, no, go ahead. But that's what I was just.
Yeah. So I mean, this is Stranger Things. From when I've talked to people, I saw the first season. But it's always been pretty universally loved by most people that have watched it, I felt like. This is the first season where, at this point, I've heard a lot of different views and opinions on this. You're the first person that I've run into that just seems to unequivocally you love it, right?
Yes.
I've talked to somebody at work who was just like, it's the same thing that's happened the last 3 seasons. And she was kind of like, man, I have my sister who I think is enjoying it, but is kind of a little ever so slightly frustrated because each episode's like a movie, she says, right? They're like over an hour long, right? But it's like, that's a double-edged sword because and I'm not changing the subject at all, but it's like
keep going.
Obi-Wan right now, I'm like, I want there to be long. Like, I'm like, the last episode that just came out was too short for me. And I was like, dude, I got 2 episodes left. I don't want these 36-minute long episodes. Like, I need more, right? So you can always have a complaint. An episode's too long, an episode's too short. But I've heard from enough people, because a lot of people watch this show, and I'm always getting the same thing from you and other people, which is, oh, this show is like, you gotta watch the other seasons, Josh. Like, they're great. And I'm always like, I'll probably eventually, but this is definitely the first one where I've heard some mixed stuff. I've heard people love it. Some people are like, oh my God, each episode's too long. Oh, it's the same thing from the previous 3 seasons. So I don't know what's going on with season 4, but I was a little shocked to hear, because I normally view you as a more critical person than most. So normally if people are giving me, a show is great, I either expect you to think it's great, or I know you're going to be honest and you're going to tell me, here are the problems with the show.
Right.
So I find it just a little bit like it sounds like you're having a great time, which is great. But
yeah, I have like some little nitpicks, but it's not even like, again, I think the biggest appeal of the show is how there's a lot of lore, and there's a lot of, I can see where people say is like they're doing the same thing again. I would almost argue that they're doing the same thing again, but there's like, they're moving the plot along. Like, it was getting to the point where there's the upside down, right? There's the mythology of, this underground magic world. And I
saw that in season 1, correct? If I remember right.
And they're literally still dealing with it. And there's still a mystery around a lot, but you do get a lot of answers in this season, as to where before it just felt like 11 comes in and she literally has force powers and you don't know why. And there is and there were points in the season where I was asking Marissa, like, okay, I still don't understand what is the motivation of this mad scientist, and the Russians were doing this thing in the last season. It's definitely something that you could probably just watch a YouTube video and like get all the explanation. And some of it is still kind of a mystery, but to me, but that's not really the main draw of the show. All I care about, for the most part, what they give me is all of these really fun characters in these little adventures and these situations. I mean, as nostalgic as it is, and it's 80s nostalgia, they kind of brought that back. I mean, no one was really doing 80s nostalgia before Stranger Things. And I mean, it really is. It's like, it's our version. It's a new version of Goonies. It's a new version of, all of the classic Spielberg stuff. It's, Stand By Me. It's, what's the guy? Stephen King. It like has all of those vibes, but it doesn't feel, it just feels like this fun new version of all of it, because it doesn't feel like a ripoff, because all of the characters are just so well realized and all of the casting is just so good. So what I think is what I enjoyed the most about this season, and kind of what I was talking about, where it kind of just feels like their version of like Infinity War, is because I was thinking, like, what's the most insane thing about this show is, how do you have like 1 million characters and you just keep introducing new ones, and somehow you're able to give them all screen time and time to develop, and they all have their own moments throughout the season, right? And I always was like wondering, how the hell did they do that? And I feel like they used the same kind of method of writing as what they did with Infinity War, where it's like, okay, we have like 17,000 Avengers, right? And we need to make them all part of this story. What do? You break them up into groups. And so each group has like 6 or 7 characters in it, right? And they're all going on a little adventure, that all revolves around this main plot separately. And then they all get their own little character moments with each other. And each group of people has their own like comic relief character, just someone fun in the group, right? And that's where just, again, they're able to keep introducing these new characters, and I'm like, there's no way they're introducing a new character again, right? Like, they just keep bringing in more characters, but it's insane because all of them just fit into the story. And they all just, there's callbacks to older characters that were just very minor roles in previous seasons. They come into the fold. And so I was just shocked at how good they were able to do it. I mean, they're just all these kids going on these adventures, and it's all so satisfying. So the main plot of what's going on is there's a murder in Hawkins, right? There's a murder in Hawkins in this season that has to do with something to do with the Upside Down, and the all of the mythical stuff that's going on. And some of the characters are off in a different town, and pretty much the main other group of people are all trying to run around the town and solve this murder. And there's people that think that some person did it. And so it's just all of these kids running around and going on this adventure and trying to solve the mystery. And things are going, things are going weird with some characters, and they're getting basically like possessed by the Upside Down evil forces is what I'll say. So it's just this really fun mix of sci-fi and fantasy, and again, it's Goonies, it's Stand By Me, it's classic 80s stuff. It's like all the kids riding around on the bikes playing Dungeons and Dragons, and every character that they introduce that's new is so goddamn enjoyable. Within 2 scenes you're like, I love this character. And so and they still keep all of the original cast still really involved. And it was funny, I think you remember Will and Mike and 11.
It's been so long, honestly.
Mike was the kid with the black hair, and then Will was the kid that disappeared in the first season, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so those guys and 11 and their older brother, I forget his name, they're basically off in a different town, right? And for most of the season. And 11 is basically like the main character. And she's kind of, you kind of know what she's got going on. She's like integrated into normal life.
Does she talk now? Because I'm pretty sure she's talking last I checked in. Okay.
She talks, but it's really funny because it's really actually cool how they do it, where she speaks, but she doesn't speak in like, I don't want to say she doesn't speak in complete sentences, but she won't speak like a normal human. She sounds like a person. She talks like a person that just learned how to talk like 3 years ago, which is literally the case. She just doesn't talk. She'll just be like, I don't know. Like, she'll talk in very simple sentences, but she does speak. So yeah, but they have their own like plot point, right? Where they're like doing stuff out in this other town. And for a little bit of the season, right? Just at a certain point midway through the season, I was like, I don't really think I'm enjoying their subplot, where it's like all the other characters that are doing fun stuff are in the town trying to solve the murder and trying to figure out what's going on. And like, they're all the fun characters. I'm like, the main characters, like, or the main kids, some of them that are in the other town, I'm like, I don't really like what's going on with them, right? As soon as I was thinking that, we turned on the episode like midpoint in the season, and I'm going to do a little brief spoiler, just a little brief, plot point of what happened. So light spoilers for Stranger Things season 4. They're all in the house, and in this house, and all of a sudden the CIA gunmen come in and start unloading on them.
The kids.
And it's this insane action, like one take, like sequence that is so good. And they're like, holy fuck. And like they run out of the house. All these CIA agents come after them, and they just start getting unloaded on. Like these cops, it's a big shootout, and there's this other police officer trying to protect them. It's insane. And I was like, holy shit, this. And then there's this comic relief guy character who's like a stoner, and he drives a van, and he's like a new character. And he is pulling up as they're getting unloaded on, and he's like, what's going on? Like, he's just in a completely different show. Like, he's like a comic character, and they're like, they get into the van and they're like, drive. And he's like, what? And they're like, drive that whole thing. And then he goes off, and they're like in this big pizza van. And then they're like on this little road trip, like running away from the CIA. And I'm like, this whole side plot just got amazing. Like, it was so crazy how good. There's all of these just amazing action sequences. Like I said, every character just gets some awesome time to shine. And again, it just gives me all those vibes of Goonies and 80s nostalgia, sure, Stephen King, all that stuff. And that's the thing, it almost is like Stephen King, where it does get violent. It will get dark. People will die horribly, but it still has that kind of like light and fun, like E.T. vibes, you know, of kids riding around on the bikes and playing Dungeons and Dragons in the 80s. And they just use every kind of 80s set piece and location you can think of, like that just makes everything interesting. Like there's a roller rink, there's all of these different places, you know, there's at one point where a character is hiding out in a boathouse on a lake, right? And he has to hide for a certain reason. And there's like a little boat that like is sitting there, like that goes out into the river. And I kept saying, "Oh my God, they're gonna do a boat chase, or they're gonna go out on that boat at some point in the season. There's gonna be a boat chase." And it's just like these characters in these situations are just so fun. So when sometimes like it's a little confusing of like, how does the sci-fi stuff really, like, you start kind of asking, okay, wait a minute, I'm confused. What is this evil person doing? Why are they doing it? Or what's their motivation? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter too much to me if that's a little ambiguous and a little confusing, because I'm just enjoying the adventure these characters are going on. I mean, there's a fight on a plane where a plane goes down in another side plot, and it literally was like, I couldn't believe this was being produced by Netflix. It was like HBO level stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's just what I wanted to gush about, how amazing I thought Stranger Things season 4 was. And we left off on a bit of a cliffhanger. There's going to be season 4 part 2 is going to be releasing in about a month, and it's going to be 2 episodes, like 2-hour long episodes.
I don't want to get off on another tangent here, but I just want to say I don't like, and I hope the industry doesn't start doing 2 things. Number 1, I don't want part 2s of seasons. I didn't like, not the biggest fan how Ozark did that. I think that's like being lazy. Whether you agree with me or not, that's my view.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope Disney stops doing this stupid 6-episode nonsense. It is not enough time to develop a story to have 6 episodes and then be done. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
No, yeah, for sure. I think it's just a method of how they're spacing it out, and they got to get more bang for their buck. So they don't want to just release the whole season in one. I think that's where Netflix is coming from. So they'll try to do like a part 2. If that makes sense for the story, I don't know.
I just don't get it. Like, I think Game of Thrones did I mean,
just week to week.
It was but it was, I think, 10 episodes maybe, or 12 episodes in a season.
Yep, and they were hour long.
And they were hour long, right? And
that's HBO's. That's HBO's model.
And I think that's totally fine. And then you have, sitcom shows that, might have like 26 episodes in a season, but they're like, 25 minutes long. But all of those things give you enough time. I feel like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's due to COVID or what, or if it's just been Disney. Maybe I'm just thinking Disney, but and I'm not just talking about the new Obi-Wan, even watching some of these other, like, I'm going to be watching Loki soon. And I watched WandaVision, and 6 episodes is just not quite enough. Like, give us a little bit more. And I think I'd be much happier, but maybe that's just me. Maybe that's a hot take, but that's how I feel.
No, you're 100%. That's been the biggest thing of like a complaint about all of these Disney Plus shows that have been coming out for Star Wars and Marvel, just one after the other. It just seems bizarre how they are making these little short 6-episode series that they hype up to all hell. Like there's so much hype for each one of these shows, and they just got one coming on after another, and it's like they're over. Excuse me, they're over before you even like get to know the character or get to know the story. They are so quick. And yeah, like you said, they'll have a 6-episode series, and an episode will be like 35 minutes long. Like, what? I don't understand how you are Disney. You have all the money in the world, literally all the money in the world. And you are like, what are you, like, concerned about budgets? Like, oh, these shows are too expensive? You're fucking Disney. I don't understand.
Like,
yeah, no.
And we're getting to the point for me where I'm looking at Obi-Wan, and we're 4 out of 6 in. And I'm thinking, if somebody were to ask me, like, what is the plot of the first 4 episodes. Like, what's the storyline? I'm kind of like, we follow Obi-Wan and Leia's there.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the name.
Oh, you didn't see the new episode?
No, not yet, but yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'm not spoiling.
No,
anything.
okay, gotcha.
I'm just talking about like and I mean, yeah, I won't give any spoilers, but it's just like we're like moving, like we're progressing, but I don't know where. I'm trying to find like what are we trying to explore and do, right? Are we exploring Obi-Wan and his PTSD? Are we focused on this darker version of Darth Vader? Are you trying to make me care about Leia as a child? I don't know. And we have 2 episodes left. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what the story is. Like, you could tell me like the plot of the first season of Game of Thrones, and it's like, okay, you're meeting the Starks. There's obviously this world that is just, fighting for, different thrones, and then it ends, spoiler if you haven't seen the first season of Game of Thrones, with Ned Stark, and it's like, oh, like, dude, like that first season was like, dude, like, sign me up, I'm on board. And
it was amazing.
I guess it's a little bit different, I guess, because you obviously assume, okay, this is season 1. We know, I think we know as of right now that this is the only season of Obi-Wan. So I'm just like, if there's not going to be more than 2 episodes, how does this finish? And what are we?
What is the point of this all?
What are we trying to finish telling? I don't know. Like, I'm just a little confused with the direction. And you're right. To me, it feels like, oh man, our budget, like we're just not hitting. And it's like, bro, you're Disney.
You used the Tatooine set like 5 times now.
like we have the same planet that you've been using in all the other Star Wars stuff. I mean, we got the same actor. I mean, like, I'm confused. I'm just like, I'm still enjoying the show, but I am starting to get a little, I'm like preemptively getting frustrated just knowing there's only 2 more episodes. And I'm like, I don't know how they're going to wrap this up in a way that I'm going to enjoy without feeling cheated, without feeling you just teased me with 6 episodes that could have been way more, so much better if instead of just making a short little 6 episode, you did, well, like Mandalorian to this day is still the most popular. Why? Because there's, what is it? How many episodes are in a season, right? They didn't do this like, it feels like a real TV show. All these 6 episode little blurps don't feel like a real TV show to me. It feels like an elongated movie, and it's not doing it.
No, it's to me again. No, I completely think you're right, and it's almost like it doesn't even feel like a movie because, again, and this is you're not the first person to say this. This has been a big thing on the internet now that we're so many of these Disney Plus shows in, where they hype them up to hell. They tell you they're going to be 6 episodes, but you're like, okay, that could be fine if they're like all hour and a half long episodes, right?
True.
And they go week to week. That's what HBO does. HBO's model is they will give you like hour and 45-minute episodes week to week, and they'll have long ass seasons. So you think, okay, maybe they can make that work in 6 episodes. That's fine, but it feels like they're trying so hard. It's almost like they wrote the story and they were like, okay, you have 6 episodes to do it, instead of this is a story that fits 6 episodes. It's like, no, you better get to that finish line and you better make it within 6 episodes. And then it's like, wait a minute, we have like no time to fumble fuck through this. Like, we have to get, and that's what one of the last Disney shows that I just watched, Moon Knight, felt the same thing, where it was like, I got 2 episodes left. They have to wrap this all up in 2 episodes. How the fuck is this going to, and they like whiffed it. It was like, what was the point of all of that? You just introduced us like this new superhero that I was so excited for, and you whiffed it in 6 episodes. It was just like this weird little unfinished feeling kind of thing. And I think the further they get into these Disney Plus shows, the further it's like, what are we doing here? Boba Fett, don't even get me started. That was literally, they gave up halfway through, and then they literally made it like, you're going to have to watch Book of Boba Fett before Mandalorian season 3 because of how Mandalorian. Yes, because it literally continues. I'm telling you, episode 3 of Boba Fett, they literally say fuck Boba Fett and they turn it into Mandalorian season 3, where they continue the Mandalorian story, and it has nothing to do with Boba Fett. It's insane. So Yeah, this is something that people have been talking about for a while, so I think you're 100% right. I'm so sick of these Disney Plus things, and now they're shoving, and then it's like as soon as Obi-Wan's over, before Obi-Wan's even over, there's another new Disney Plus show starting, Miss Marvel, which I swear to God, I think I'm just going to skip until all the episodes are out, and I might not even watch it until I feel like I find out that it's good, because I'm just getting less and less out of all of these shows. And I mean, I know Obi-Wan's completely different. We care about it, but yeah,
I have a really bad feeling that you're not going to enjoy the next episode, because like just the more you talk, the more I'm like, oh my God, he's literally like explaining the last episode of Obi-Wan, and like literally within the first 10 minutes. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that first 10 minutes should have probably been the first 20 minutes, but because they're on a 6-episode budget here, it's like, so without spoiling anything, they hop from one point to the next really quickly. And it feels a little abrupt. And you're kind of like, wait, we were just here. There should have been like a period in here, but we just decided to go, let's just skip that, which could have been super deep and important and impactful. And instead we just go, we have to go here.
Oh, so, no. This is going to be, fucking Disney. I don't understand what they're doing. I mean, people were saying that, like, you know, they're new into the streaming game. They might not know what's going on. Like, they're still trying to find their footing with these shows. It's like they have the most money in the world to hire all the talent in the world. I don't want to hear those fucking excuses. Like, they have so much
money to even for people to tell them, like, hey, we want more. Like, you're having everybody say we want more, but instead, but maybe the problem is they hear we want more and they think, let's just take every single, I don't know if it's called an IP. That's like a video game term. Maybe.
No, no,
so it's like, let's just take every single character and story that we own and make a story out of it. Instead,
is it going to go anywhere? No, but
instead of focusing on one story at a time, like you basically said, it's just like, oh, okay, before Obi-Wan's even over, here's whatever the next one is, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel. Before that's over, just so you know, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. What is that one? Like, what is happening, bro? So it's just like they're just doing everything. They're checking off all of their boxes instead of like developing these characters and these stories even more that people love and care about so much, and they're doing a disservice, in my opinion, by rushing through.
Yeah, no, and I think just to piggyback off of that, I think it's kind of like where I think when, you know, you had the first couple phases of the MCU pre-Infinity War and pre-Endgame, there were team ups, like, you know, you were leading up to a team up moment. And now we're in this phase of Marvel where they're just introducing so many new fucking characters into the world. And I think they've said in so many points where it's like, we don't really have any plans to like do any crossovers anytime soon. I don't know when they're going to do that, but that was always part of the fun, right? It's like, oh, Captain America is going to meet Iron Man in a movie and they're going to like do something. And now they're just introducing so many characters, and it's like, I would love to see some of them meet up, and I'm sure there would be some fun moments in it, but there's still so many Avengers that we haven't even like wrapped up their stories that were still from Endgame, like their original Avengers, like that they're still out there. So yeah, it's abysmal. I'm where I just, but I'm so done with half of this Disney stuff, but that's why when I put on Stranger Things season 4, something that, you know, it's based in a lot of nostalgia. It's based on like, you know, Goonies and all these old, you know, very derivative of old 80s things. They are definitely, they stand out enough as their own original story. They're doing a lot of great things. And it's just so nice to me to see something on the more original side being so great, at least to me. And I like, one thing I will say about Stranger Things is that I like that it literally does feel like a movie every episode. It feels like, especially this season, it feels like you're watching a movie. Every episode is a TV show, and that's something HBO does really well, is that they really make their shows feel like movies with these big budgets, and it's just nice to see. I don't know. It was just really nice for me to see, like, wow, like we have something like kids that are growing up, or like teenagers are going to be like, yeah, I had Stranger Things when I was younger. They're not going to be like, well, I had like the 8th Star Wars show that no one cared about. Like, you know, like there's no, at least there's something that people are putting effort into that you can look back on and be like, well, this was my generation, you know? And I'm just, that makes me really happy. So, and I just like the terminology of how they call each Stranger Things season. It's not Stranger Things season 1. It's Stranger Things 1. It's Stranger Things 2, Stranger Things 3, Stranger Things 4. Like, it's literally, they're titling it like a movie. And I always kind of I always like that marketing. But anyway, so yeah. Stranger Things season 4. I love it.
Cool.
Yeah, so we can go on to whatever we got next. Have you been playing any video games? Anything you wanted to talk about, or?
I mean, there hasn't been too much going on in the video game world. A lot of people, it's funny. There's been a lot of at least controversy amongst my friends, where there's been some pretty big streamers playing slots on Twitch.
Wait, so I think I heard about this.
Yeah, so XQC, who's a big streamer, he's been doing a lot, but more than anybody really. I think his name is, I just call him Train. I think most people just call him Train. I forget what his full name is, like Train Wreck or Train something. And basically, they get sponsored. My friends say they get sponsored like millions of dollars to be able to use to do slots. But I mean, it's a whole thing, especially amongst my friends, because, you know, we're talking about Twitch or YouTube or whatever. And who's watching Twitch and YouTube? I mean, sure, I'm 30 and I watch it, but there's plenty of kids in middle school and high school who, number one, are not even of age to be able to do such a thing. But how can you be okay with streaming yourself, like, just wasting away? And when I'm talking, like, man, you know, we go to a slot, I'm betting $1, like, on a slot, right? So the payouts, whatever. I mean, we're talking, I can't even remember. He's doing like 75,000 or like 50,000. Like, he's maxing out as much as he can so he's going through the money. Like,
what's this guy's name?
I don't. So it's called Train. Let me see if I can actually maybe he's streaming right now. I don't think it's that much. I think it's like 15,000 or so. Okay, it's Train Wreck. So, yep, Train Wreck, WRECK, and then an S, Train Rex TV.
Okay.
And he's playing slots. He's on Twitch right now. He's doing slots to 32,000 people. So he's got 32,000 people watch it. And normally when you click his link here, I'll click it real quick. We'll do this live. Ready? Am I going to have to watch an ad? Maybe not. So he literally plays, I do actually, it's a McDonald's ad. He literally does this thing where he plays a quick YouTube like clip every, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. And it's literally him giving this whole speech about how gambling is basically bad. You do not win. You lose money. He said, if you gamble, you will lose money. You will not win. Okay. He says, I do it for entertainment. I do it because I have the funds to be able to spend on that entertainment. And it's this whole thing that he plays every or like anytime he wins big, right? Because when he wins big, like he won like $4 million the other day, just on a slot, right? He got into the bonus round and he won like 4 million. So you have to imagine there's these kids who are like, dude, this guy just won $4 million on slots. Like, I'm going to do slots. And it's just like, it seems so messed up to me. So anyway,
wait, now
yeah, go ahead.
I'm so glad you brought this up because I find this fascinating. I think I might have heard something about this, but now I'm like so intrigued. So he is streaming himself playing. He's online gambling and he's streaming it via Twitch.
Correct.
But so this is like a real online gambling site, though.
Yeah, so we live in New York, and it's not legal in New York. But my friends who live in Pennsylvania, it is legal to do these like sites. So you can, and you know, I try to go to the site that my buddy goes to, you know, the internet knows I live in New York, so it won't allow me. But if you live in a legal state where online gambling is okay, so literally he's just in a state where it's okay. He just goes to the website. He is currently doing a slot where his bet is, I was right, $75,000 per like lever pull is what he's betting. Like more than I make in a year, and he's just clicking away, dude. He's just clicking away, and it's insane. And I mean, yeah, he literally has a little thing up that says, "Do not gamble, you will lose." But it's like, It just feels a little gross.
I
honestly.
never thought of this. Wait, this is so fascinating to me. I never thought so. Like, yeah, because online gambling is a thing where you play cards. You can do anything like from a casino virtually, and it's like a video game.
Yeah.
And now that doesn't cross any kind of community guideline standards.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is what blows my mind is, and I'm not some righteous person, but the fact that Twitch has transformed so much. It used to just be play Halo, play Call of Duty, play a video game, stream yourself on Twitch. Now we've got pool, hot tub, pool, whatever, right? We got girls in bikinis. And I've done some research recently that I want to share my findings.
Okay.
I'm
so happy you brought this up. I'm so interested.
I want to clarify this too. I've not followed any hot tub streamer, but that Amaranth girl keeps popping up on my recommended channels now. So there's a little, right? I've got all my follow channels, and right below it says like recommended. And so Twitch keeps baiting me into clicking her channel. So the last like month or so, since like the last time we talked about her, I've been clicking her stream. I'm like, I just want to see what is the appeal of this
for research purposes.
What exactly? Legit.
Me too. No, it's like literally, I'll go to the hub if I want to go to the hub. This is not the hub.
Like for research purposes, So, so I've been going, and I'm like trying to, and she's got like these donation goals, which I also find so interesting. She'll like sign somebody's name on a part of her body depending on how much they've donated. She's got like weird Pokemon. Maybe this is a different hot tub streamer. One of them has, I'm telling you, this is research, so it's not just Amaranth too. One of them had like Pokemon on the wall and would like do the same thing. And okay,
that seems like voodoo.
They literally change into a different outfit every 5 minutes. And I swear to God, they spend more time off screen changing into a new outfit or a bikini than they do on screen. And so I'd say 75% of the time I'm on Twitch, I'm like, Amaranth pops up on my recommended channel. I'll click her name. She's not even there. She's off screen getting changed. And I'm like, dude, this girl is getting paid more in a month than I make in a year. And you don't even look at her. She's not even here. And I'm just like, it blows my mind.
You can spend that money on OnlyFans if you wanted to.
So anyway, getting away from the initial gambling conversation, my point is it's just kind of amazing what Twitch is okay with. And honestly, I'm more okay, in my opinion, with my morals, with Amaranth and these hot tub street. Like if they want to go for it. I mean, that's a gray area too, because once again, we've got 12-year-olds that we have to think that are watching this stuff. But on the same, so maybe they're, in my mind, they're kind of on evil grounds. We've got, these hot tub streamers, whatever. But then we've also got these guys who are literally gambling away thousands of dollars.
Is this Trainwrecks guy? Is there other people? Is this a trend that people are doing this? Other people are gambling?
So Trainwreck. So, I follow a bunch of different people on Twitch. So Trainwreck,
this is a new trend.
Example. So let me, I'm going to throw out some names there. I want you to see if you recognize. I'm going to start actually lower. So Pokimane, I know you know.
Oh.
She is just chatting right now. I think she must have just started because she's a little lower on her viewer count than she normally is. She's got 18,000 viewers.
Holy shit.
Have you heard of a guy called Nick Merckx?
Yes.
Okay, so he's playing Apex, which is what I've been playing lately. He's got 24,000. Up above him, you have Shroud, who's another big streamer. He's got 28,000. Up above him, you have Train, who we were just talking about, at 32,000. Then we have XQC, who I think is the #1 streamer right now on Twitch. He's at 96,000 viewers. Okay, so he's triple of Trainwreck, and XQC has very recently fallen into this pitfall, is what I'm going to call it. And he is now also sometimes doing these gambling streams. Now, he's not gambling quite as much as Train, but he's still doing thousands of dollars on each roll. And he's got the largest audience on Twitch. And the fact that Twitch is saying this is okay by not saying anything, quite frankly, I'm shocked. I really am.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's less of should people be allowed to do this. I don't really care either way. I think the internet's just the Wild West, and if kids are seeing it, they're going to see, like, kids could, back in the day, we could go on Live Leak and watch people like beheading videos from ISIS if we wanted to. I mean, we could watch some fucked up shit or shit that would, it's the same crap. So I don't really have an issue with anyone doing it. I'm more fascinated with why would you want to do it? If I'm a kid and I have access to the internet, what is the point of looking up and watching just some girl on Twitch that's in a bikini still under community guidelines when I could just go open a new tab and go right to the hub? I don't understand. Like, unless there's some sort of internet child block on, that's the only thing I can think of. But still, true. I don't understand who is in these chats, who's talking. And then you say the thing about this whole gambling thing is really interesting to me. I never thought that. I never thought that you could. I never even thought about that. Online gambling on Twitch. But from what you said, I think you mentioned at one point, so the money that Trainwrecks, at least specifically, is gambling with is money that he is sponsored for, or just using all of his, what is that?
So I'm going off of, I don't care enough to do the research myself. So I guess I should specify in case somebody actually knows what's going on. And maybe nobody does actually know. But from what my friends have told me, who I think have done a little bit more research than myself, is that he's getting paid, sponsored. And if you actually go onto his Twitch, I think it says #sponsored, because legally he has to say if he's being sponsored. Now, how much it is and the like regulations that he has to follow, I don't know. Like, I'm assuming if this website gives him, I don't know, $2 million a month, there has to be some sort of like, hey, you can't just like keep this money. You have to at least gamble like
a percentage,
a percentage. Well, I'm assuming it's all of it, right? But like, so you could gamble 2 million and use it all and lose it all, right? And at the end of the day, the company doesn't lose any money. He didn't gain anything. Or you could gamble the 2 million and then end up, up $1 million with 3 million. You know what I mean? Like, depending on how the night goes and stuff. So I don't know, but from what I've been told, it sounds like he's definitely provided a hefty amount of money. Does he go past that amount and start tapping into his own funds? I'm sure he does, but he has so much that it doesn't matter anyway. You know what I mean? It's like, it even goes past, forget the fact that he's sponsored. He has way more money than any of these kids who are watching him will probably ever have. But what they're not, but they don't probably really get that. They're just seeing him win $4 million on a huge roll. And so I can't help but think if they're just gonna get tempted into this. It's just such an addicting thing. Like, gambling's like alcoholism. Like, it's like being an alcoholic to a certain extent, where it's just like, he talks about it and he's always searching for that next high. He talked about how he used to just love gambling, $50, $100, but the more you do it, the less it's like weed, right? You smoke a little bit of weed, it's fine, but then you need more and more and more to get that same high. And that's what he's doing with gambling. And so now he's at the point where he's gambling $75,000 per spin to get that heart pumping. And that's unhealthy for other people to watch that happen. And
yeah, for sure. I am I get it. But where I come from with this thing, I am a man of the consumer. I think of it as from a consumer perspective. My real issue is with this matter, and follow me on this. I think it is not exciting that this man is gambling money that he is just being given to him through sponsors. There's no enjoyment in watching that. That's where I always get across, is like, why would I want to watch this? Where's the fun in this? I don't like that this man is just being given $2 million as a viewer, because there's no risk in it. You can give me $2 million and stream on Twitch, and is Dan going to lose it all? Who cares? I just got this money 10 minutes ago. If I would be pitching this show, I would say on Twitch, I need me, myself, and my current financial situation, I'm going to bet everything in my savings account. And if I don't win this hand, I am going to get my car repossessed. And all of the kids will be cheering me on and be like, hey, kids, I don't have a car tomorrow.
If there's way more on the line because it's your money. And like,
yeah, this guy's doing it all wrong. I need either I win this hand and win this money, or I'm not going to be able to, I'm going to have to, pawn my wife's wedding ring. These are the risks I want to see these streamers take. If you ask me, I don't think they're going far enough. That's not fun to me that you can just give them $2 million and then they're just wasting it away. There's no risk. There's no risk. As a viewer,
and it's the point too that he has hashtag sponsored, but I bet a lot of kids miss that. They probably think it's his money, but it's not. And so it's not the same.
We like to see suffering porn in this country, and I think this guy is doing it all wrong. But yeah, no, that's just where my mind goes. Truly, I'm semi-joking, but I don't understand. Yeah, to me, I don't know why I would want to watch that. This billionaire gamble away $2 billion because that takes out all the fun of gambling for me. So again, it just seems like maybe this is just targeted towards kids, where it's like, me, I look at that and I'm like, okay, you're getting paid $2 million to put the money in the slot machine. I don't go to a casino and get sponsored by Red Bull $5,000 and be like, here you go, have a blast. Like, if you lose it, whatever. I'm like, great. That's not how it works. You use your own money. There's no risk involved in this, it sounds like to me, to this guy. So I guess maybe you're right. Maybe it is just more to kids where it's like, oh my God, he just lost $2 million. It's like, or he just lost $5,000. It's like, he was just given that. So that's my real problem with this, Josh. I want this guy. It's either he wins that bet, that slot with that one pull, or he's losing his house and his children. That's what I want to see. That's what I think we should demand more of as Twitch watchers, and we should expect more from our Twitch streamers. That's what I want to see. I think we should do better. I think we should do better, Josh.
I think what I'll do at this point is maybe I should stream myself going to Atlantic City later in August here, and you can watch me, gamble my life savings away so that my car gets repossessed, like you said. So
you could stream live from the crappy motel in Atlantic City. We're like, hey guys, it's me. You're sitting in a bathtub full of ice, and you're like, gonna sell my organs now to pay off my debts. The guy in a trench coat is walking in with a knife to the side.
Yeah. It's crazy, but yeah, I mean, as far as I know the original question too was what's going on in video game world, but that's really Twitch world. But for me, I've been playing Apex Legends recently again. I've been really enjoying that, which is just a battle royale for people who don't know. And then other than that, there's been a lot of cool announcements, but nothing's really coming out soon. We've got the Dead Space remake, which is that scary game that we talked about on the first episode that I ever was on. That is coming out, I think, later in 2023. And then there's a Resident Evil 4 remake. This was all that just came out of the Sony's State of Play. So there's some good stuff on the horizon. Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare 2. I'm sure you're familiar with that. They're remastering or redoing. I don't even know. It is now going to be $70 instead of $60. So I remember the days where I bought GameCube games for $50.
How do people afford
PlayStation? Dude, I don't like it's crazy. It's finally gotten to the point where I remember spending $50 in a game. I was like, I was totally cool with that. Then the 360, the PlayStation 3 and everything bumped up to 60. I was like, I get it. Games are way better now. They look like they take way more. This is the first time, and I'm making, now I'm an adult and I make my own money, but I'm like, dude, $70?
No.
I have to spend $70 now for a game. We're getting a little pricey here. Like, and it's the drastic. It's like you can have a game like Fortnite or Call of Duty Vanguard or Apex Legends. Those games are completely free. Now, Dan, I have something I have to admit.
Oh boy.
These free games are problematic.
On air here, folks.
So let me tell you what's happening here. So for instance, there's a game. It's called Valorant. I don't know if you know of Valorant.
No.
It's a first-person shooter type game. Have you ever heard of the game called League of Legends?
Oh, of course.
Okay. So the League of Legends is made by a game developer called Riot. So Riot developed a FPS called Valorant. And it's the same thing where it's a free-to-play game, right? So you download the game, it's free, you get to play it in all of its entirety, you get all the characters, you get everything, it's free. You get to play it. But they have skins.
Okay? Oh, you have
there's skins
in-game purchases, Loot Crate City.
So, it's not even loot crates. So, right, I still feel to this day that loot crates are like gambling, okay?
Right.
This is straightforward. There's just a store, and it's just like it'll update like every 24 hours, and then like every week they have like a line of skins that look really cool, and you can spend money to get these skins if you want
same
them.
thing with Fortnite and everything else.
Exactly. Now, some Apex Legends does have loot crates, right? So it's like you can buy skins, but you can also just buy packs of loot crates, and then that's gambling. You can't change my mind about that, because you're buying a pack, you have no idea what's inside. You click it, it opens up. That's what you get, right? That's gambling. How much money do you think I've spent on Valorant, Dan? If you had to guess.
How long have you been playing it?
Ooh, good question. The game came out in 2019. I haven't been playing it since 2019. I've been on and off, right? We played it a lot when it first came out, and then, you take a break for a couple months, you come back to it with some friends. I could look at my hours.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, it gives me a good idea.
I have a couple hundred hours in the game at least.
Okay. I'm going a little bit of north of 200.
Okay. It's a fair guess. I think it's just south of 400.
Whoa, that was way more than I thought. Okay. Because I just know you're pretty conservative with your money usually. You're pretty good with it.
I am. And so there's a website that you can go to.
Oh, no.
Shows you. And Dan, it's crazy because I feel like I am very conservative. And there are so many skins that would come out. I'm like, I'm not spending the money. I'm not doing it. This game's free. Cosmetics do nothing other than are pretty to look at. And then I went to this website recently. All of us did, all my friend groups, and we're all like, yikes. I mean, it's been out for like 3.5 years, but like, there's no reason to spend that amount of money on a free game. But I've done it, right? Apex is free. It's the same thing. So it's one of those things where, yeah, Call of Duty, the new one, it's going to cost $70, but they probably won't have all of these cosmetics and loot boxes that I'll have to buy. They might. They still might. I don't know. I hope not. But you get baited even with these free games. You're like, oh, dude, it's free. Oh, I can spend a little money on skins. And then 3 years later, you look at this website that tells you how much money you spent. And you're like, I've almost spent $400 in Valorant skins. Cool.
To me,
good choices. Good choices, Josh.
But you've been playing that game since 2019.
True, you can justify it all you want, but at the end of the day, like, there's that two sides of my brain where I'm like, I've been playing the game since 2019. I really enjoy it. I'm supporting Riot, even though that's like saying like, oh, I've been buying from Amazon. I really want to. They don't need your money and your support.
Right.
They're doing just fine. They're $1 billion company, so you know. But to me, it's what I've done.
Yeah, to me, that always got so intimidating for me about getting into gaming is that there's so many new games that come out on a regular basis. And I know there's things like there's streaming things where you can, a monthly purchase and you can have access to a library of games. I think like Steam or Game Pass or things that exist, right? Where you get access to a certain number of games for just a monthly subscription.
That's great. Yep.
Yeah. So I understand that. That would make me more susceptible to like getting into that. But just the idea of if you want to be a true gamer or you just want to be like, pretty like up on everything, even to a mild sense, I feel like you have to put in so many hours into so many different games, and you have to like purchase a lot of them. Not all of them are going to be on the streaming or the platforms. And so for me, I'm just thinking like I'm like a movie person. I like to watch a lot of new movies, and I want to go back and watch a lot of different stuff that I haven't seen before. I get a lot of joy out of that, but that's a 2-hour commitment per movie. And if I have to rent a movie, it's like $4 on YouTube. I can't imagine like again, and you have to, some of these games are so many hours to complete and just not even 100%, just go through the storyline. And
yeah,
I know not all of them are campaign based, but to me, I'm just like, man, I don't have the time or the money. I mean, good for you. I know there's a lot of great experiences, like just in media that I'm missing out on, but I can't. I don't know how you do it. I mean, it's crazy to me. But yeah, no, I mean, but if you're playing the game since 2019, I don't know. I could look up how much money I've spent on renting movies and stuff, and I probably have somewhere around the same amount. So we all have our stupid hobby vices that we spend money on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But no, I get what you mean, though. It is crazy. So yeah. No, that's interesting though. Jeez.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I had one other topic. We can kind of just I really don't have much to say about this, but maybe you might. So
Sure.
there's been this big thing going around this past week. I don't know if you've heard about Josh. Do you know what time it is?
I don't know. Do I?
Sorry, I hated that I just baited you into doing that. It's Morbin time. It's Morbin time, Josh.
I
It's
have
fucking
I
Morbin
wait, have
time.
I seen this actually? What is this? What is this going around? Yeah, what is this?
Okay. So let me school you on this and any listeners that don't know.
I think I
So
saw it on TikTok, honestly.
it's Morbius, the Marvel movie or the
Oh
Sony
no.
movie,
Okay.
Morbius. Have you heard of Morbius?
I have, but I know nothing about it.
So Morbius it came out a few months ago. It's a new Marvel Sony movie. So it's not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's in the same universe as Venom. So the Venom movies are not in the MCU. Technically, they're not Marvel Studio movies, they're Marvel Sony movies. So Morbius is a Spider-Man villain. And they came out with this Morbius movie starring my best friend, Jared Leto, who I love. And the movie was so bad and so boring, and I didn't even watch it. I refused to watch it at this point. And basically, it was memed. It got memed to all hell, right? So it was that was like 2 months ago, and these memes just kept coming and coming and coming. This is essentially like the situation for Sonic the Hedgehog almost. I feel like
Got it.
it seems a little similar to that, where the internet just took off with these it's Morbin time memes and just how stupid this Morbius character was and how stupid this movie was. And the studios did a thing where they re-released the movie into theaters a few weeks ago because of all of this meme hype. But they're
Didn't
just
it average like one viewer per movie theater or something I
oh, it
saw?
was
They like
terrible.
re-released it and it did like $75,000 or something on the week. It was something so poor.
Abysmal.
It was
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
So it just goes to show how tone deaf, I guess, studios are, is where someone was looking at all these memes and said, we can capitalize on this, but by re-releasing the movie into theaters. And it's to the point where this whole meme just got so crazy, and some of the memes were hilarious. I'm big in on the Jared Leto memes. So it got to the point where now even Jared Leto's in on the joke, and he's like posting it. He posts like a little spoof video on his Twitter, and as soon as the butt of the joke is in on the joke dies. So Jared Leto, you can fuck off. You're not like in on the joke. The joke was about you. But yeah, so that was just a stupid thing. I don't really have much to say about it. It's insane. The internet's funny, and studios are just very tone deaf. And I guess that's just the moral of the story. I mean, they just thought that it was a good idea to re-release it into theaters. So
clearly not. Clearly not.
Yeah. So that's all I really had. So I just wanted to bring it up. I don't really have anything interesting to say about it or any kind of take.
Yeah, I didn't make the connection. I did read some articles that was basically just talking about how this movie came out. I had never even heard of it. It was completely off of my radar. And then I saw like Morbius re-released and does piss poor sales on this weekend. And somebody did the math on it, like all the theaters that it got re-released in. And apparently it averaged like one or two viewers per movie theater over the weekend. And I'm like, wow. So that was not worth it. So it's crazy.
It's just it's sad, man. It's sad. Like, I just can't stand how tone deaf some of these studios are. They didn't understand that the memes were making fun of how bad the movie was. I mean, I don't even know where to go with it. I mean, it's just it's one of those movies. It got released on Amazon Prime to watch on streaming like not too long ago, a few weeks ago, and I think that's what sparked a lot of the it's Morbin time memes because it was on streaming. I was thinking like, oh, cool, Morbius is on streaming now. I have Amazon Prime now. I don't have to like pay to watch it, and I'm like, I'm to the point where I don't even think I want to spend the time to watch it. I have been working up such a fun watch list on Letterboxd of like all these old movies and just all these movies that I haven't seen before. I'm not gonna watch Morbius. Why would I watch Morbius? I know it's shitty. I'm not gonna hate it. Why am I gonna sit there and watch this dumb superhero movie? I mean, I can't do it anymore. I can't watch I'm seriously gonna start skipping some stuff. Like Miss Marvel is gonna come out before Obi-Wan's even over. I think I'm just gonna not watch that until like the show's done. Maybe I'll check it out and I see some reviews, but I'm over it. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up.
Sure.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of rant about Morbius in one of my solo episodes that I thought was pretty funny. So I did if anyone wants to check that out, that's what I was thinking of. I did talk about Morbius and how I wasn't going to see it. So anyway, so we got a little bit of time left. I don't know how much time you got.
Oh yeah, I got a couple minutes here. I do need to just get ready.
Yeah, we can wrap it up in a little bit. I'm just happy. Hopefully we got good audio for this episode, folks. So
I think so.
We can go through a few. We got a few fan questions from Jason. And
cool.
Hello, I think Jason. They're hello, Jason. But yeah, no, I like some fan questions, even if they're just all from Jason. At least
I love them.
It gives us a little bit of topics. So if you guys want to ask us any questions, I put up on Instagram every week a question story. So just
DM the next round on me, Instagram,
or just DM us any kind of question you want to ask us, and we'll read it.
Yeah.
We'll read it live on the show. So I'm going to go through where is Jason's questions. We can just go through a few of them. Where the hell are they? Hold on one second. Sorry. Here we go. So Jason, first question. Who is your favorite Star Wars character? I know. I had to think about
my answers. I mean, the question is, do I be honest or do I try to be original?
Give us both. Give us both.
I actually don't even know what answer would be original to this. I've always been drawn. I grew up and I was a big Luke fan. And then during the prequels, I was a big Obi-Wan fan. And I just think since the prequels, I've always been an Obi-Wan fan. I don't know why. I was never like when I grew up, I was more Anakin's age than I was Obi-Wan. So it wasn't like I identified at all as Obi-Wan.
Right.
I think
he was just more likable.
I just think he was always an enjoyable character. Like in the first three, he was a wise old man. Who was helping Luke, and then in the prequels you learned that he was like a cool dude, really, right? Just a very likable character. Oh my god, Mr. McGregor.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'll never say it right. I just did a great job. So I think unfortunately that's my lame answer. I don't really know what an original, cool, different answer would be. Maybe you have one, but my answer has always been, which is why I was so excited for this show, because I've always just loved Obi-Wan as a character. So that's my answer.
Yeah, no, I had to think about this too. Sorry, I had access to the questions before you did. I probably should have sent them to you.
No, I like when they're when I have to come up with them fresh off the top of my head. So
yeah, no, those are good answers too. It's like, yeah, I love Obi-Wan, and they're not, but sometimes I think in Star Wars it's almost funny because it's almost like it's not just from what I see in the movies and shows of what I love about that character. It's like the story I can make up in my head canon about them. Like the story I can make up about, I would have probably wanted to say Boba Fett. And now we got the Boba Fett show. And I'm like, wow, he's like one of my least favorite characters now.
That's terrible.
So I don't even really know. I mean, I always really liked Kit Fisto from the prequels. He was a fun character in the comics. He was the guy he was the swimmer guy he was an alien with the tentacles.
Spell his name for me so I can Google.
Kit, K-I-T, Fisto.
Okay, let's take a look. Do I know this guy? Oh, dude, this guy was in episode 2, and just
he had the smile.
If I remember right, there's just a scene where he pushes 2 droids, they just fall over. And he's just got this big grin on his face, or something.
And then he gets murdered by Palpatine.
Oh, does he? Oh my
In
God.
episode 3, yeah.
Don't get me started on that scene. How literally within 30 seconds, these
He takes
amazing
down.
Jedis literally stand there, and Palpatine just with a couple swipes kills like 3 of them. I don't get it.
There's so much wrong with all of that scene when you watch it now. It's like when you were a kid, it was the coolest thing ever and so sad, and I cried during Order 66. But like now, it's like, oh my God, there's so much wrong in watching it now.
But we know nothing about him either.
Well, because there's been comics, and because I used to read a lot of Star Wars comics, and I used to read some of the novels, and you can kind of almost just make up headcanon about these characters. I used to read Wikipedia. It was Wikipedia for Star Wars. I used to read those pages, and I'm like, I could make up in my head all these stories. Like, I used to love thinking about Boba Fett, like, and what, like, a great, like, I would love to write like a Star Wars story. Like, that's, I think every Star Wars fan would love to just write a story. Yeah, so I probably would say, like, I guess Boba Fett, just by going from someone. I mean, I
think our dear fan Jason will like that answer too. So
I've always wanted to see Jar Jar Binks again, and I've always here's my okay. I don't understand. Yes, he was racist, but like, what?
I don't.
He was a racist. Annoying. He was a racist caricature of Jamaicans, and that's.
Oh, I get
and
it.
Watto was a racist caricature of Italians. It's a whole thing. There's more.
Yeah, and Disney puts penises on the covers of their movies.
Exactly.
Okay? We just accept this and move on. So.
Roll it back, Josh. I was listening to the last episode, and I just want to say, so no, but yeah, so I would like to see. I would love if they had the balls to, like, in a new episode of The Mandalorian, what if he comes across like a bounty hunter Gungan that's like the coolest Gungan bounty hunter ever? Like, you could make that.
Yeah, I'd be cool to explore the race that Jar Jar was, but to bring Jar Jar back as a character, I'd kind of seen that.
There's a very interesting story in an excerpt of a book of, like, one of these. Star Wars has a lot of anthology books where every chapter is just based on it's like its own little short story. And there's this really famous story that is canon that was in some book, and it was a short story, right? Like, Star Wars has a lot of these little short stories, like novels, where it's like every chapter is just a different story. This one story it was in the height of the Empire, and it was in this city somewhere, and there was this street performer. He was a clown. No one cared about him, and he was like begging for scraps. He was like a homeless person. And it was revealed at the end of the story, or something along these lines, that it was Jar Jar Binks during the Empire, and no one cared about him. He was banished from like everything. Everyone hated him because he was in the Senate at the time, and he was the one that granted Palpatine his emergency powers for the Clone Wars. He was the one that did that, Jar Jar Binks, in episode 2. So in a weird way, everything the Emperor coming to power was because of Jar Jar Binks. And I just love that idea of, like, seeing a story where it's just this very sad portrayal of, like, Jar Jar, like, as a homeless, like, street performer, and just kind of seeing, and everyone hates him, and just kind of, like, seeing what he's become, and he's, like, banished and ashamed and, like, an outcast. And I just kind of like that idea of, like, that very sad story. It's a very famous story of, like, what happened to Jar Jar. So anyway, but yeah, I would be down to explore, like,
I guess. I mean, I saw rumors that like before
Darth Jar Jar
came out, yeah, that he was like the Sith like Lord and all sorts of. I do personally enjoy that stuff. Like, when I'm into any kind of, like, anime or
fan theories,
movie or TV, when you start reading even video game stuff, and you're like, oh my God, like, honestly, fan theories are normally better than what we get. Like,
they are.
Like, some of the stuff that they come up with is so ingenious. And
hire these people.
Oh my gosh! Like,
go honestly, on Tumblr.
When I was reading, somebody did a great one about Darth Jar Jar, and I was reading it.
I've seen it. Probably.
I was like, this is so stupid. I'm reading. I'm like, dude, this is insane.
And guess
this is crazy.
I'd rather read that over and over again than watch The Rise of Skywalker.
Agreed.
You know, it's like, what are you doing? So yeah, it is. I think that's a lot of things, and I think that's why a lot of people tend to love Star Wars, because it is so expansive and it is so, you make up your own headcanon about certain characters and certain expectations, and I think that's where a lot of the creativity comes from and a lot of the inspiration comes from the fans. So yeah, no, but what we actually get on screen is such corporate, made by committee dog shit. So okay, good question. I like these. So this was an interesting one. You might have a stronger opinion. Favorite Pokemon video game?
Oh, okay. I was literally about to say, don't give me another Pokemon question that's about that. I can't even remember what he asked us last week about one of those.
This was a meme. That Pokemon was a meme going around. But anyway.
So this is actually a quick answer for me. I've always enjoyed Pokemon Silver. That's always been my go-to. I got Silver. I had Soul Silver when that came out, and you had the little Pokeball that you got to put on your hip and you walk with it. It would level up your Pokemon. I just personally always enjoyed that because it expanded upon the original Pokemon, which I knew and loved.
Yep.
But I was still able to keep up with it. After that, I started getting lost because there was just too many for me to keep track of. So it was like in Pokemon, and I think Silver, you actually got like 16 badges. It was like you did the first 8, and within the first 8, you caught Lugia, who is still like my favorite, like legendary Pokemon. I remember watching the movie as a kid. Now, the first Pokemon movie will always hold a special place in my heart. One of my tears did drop on Ash Ketchum to help, revive him from stone. So, but I remember watching the second one, which is when Lugia is like, I forget the actual verbiage, but it's kind of like the owner of the 3 birds, like kind of like the peacekeeper.
Yep.
And you've got Moltres and Articuno and Zapdos like fighting each other. And those are awesome 3 legendary Pokemon. And then Lugia comes out of the ocean and it's just like, I love that movie.
Was that Pokemon 2000?
Yes, I think so. So okay. I was 8. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I love that movie. So I always loved Lugia as a legendary Pokemon. And then after you go beat the 8, I can't remember if I'm remembering this right. In my head, this is what I remember, is that you did the first 8 and then you went to a different region and where you could catch like more of the original Pokemon and like the original 151. And then you did like another 8. So it was like such an expansive game, and it had the dogs in there too, right? You had Entei. Dude, okay. I have a question for you, not to get off track. So there's Entei, there's Raikou, and then what's the third dog's name? Do you remember?
Gun to my head, I wouldn't know.
Okay, so do me a favor.
Wait, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune.
It's okay. Me and my brother always said Suicune. That's what we called it. It was Suicine, I believe. And we started talking to friends about it, and everybody started saying Suicune, and we were like, we never watched the show at that point as much, I think, or we didn't watch it when like Suicune was in the show, so we always called the Pokemon Suicune. That's a fun fact. That's what we called it. We were so wrong because everybody else calls it like Susan except Susan. Like Sui is pronounced Sue, and then the Cine is Sin. Susan. But everybody said Suicune, and we're like, I guess that's what it is. So anyway, Pokemon Silver is definitely my favorite. I've always loved that game, and that's always been my go-to. And then I'd say my second is probably either one of the originals. I also really liked Pokemon Pearl and Diamond. Both of those were great. So what was your favorite Pokemon? I don't even know which ones you've played, quite honestly.
Wait, hold on. Pause. Sorry. I have to start.
No, what happened?
Nothing. We're good. I just have to hold on. Sorry. I'm gonna cut this. I have to I just have to. My recording stopped.
Oh, God.
Just briefly. No, we're good. I just have to, my mic is not hooked up to it now. Sorry, folks. Oh, we were doing so good. I just have to find, how the hell do I connect my mic back? I had to move.
Was it GarageBand? It just like stopped?
No, I had to move fucking the outro music in a track. It was stupid. I don't know why I had to fucking, because we were getting close to it. Where the fuck do I just connect my mic? All right. I'm going to I'm just going to unplug my mic and plug it back in real quick.
Okay. You are, I cannot hear you. You just keep talking. I'll let you know when I can hear you. If anybody's out there watching live on the YouTube channel and or Twitch, we apologize for the technical difficulties. Daniel is experiencing some problems with his microphone. We'll be right back after a quick message from our sponsors. As a reminder, please feel free to go to our imaginary Patreon at this point to support Dan in his endeavors for a computer that will function at all times. You're smiling and excited, but I still can't hear your voice. Don't raise your finger at me one more time and see what happens.
All right. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. All right. That was so stupid. Sorry. Sorry. All right.
Are we good?
All right. So what were you talking about? Wait, and then
I had just finished what I was saying about Pokemon, and I asked which one was your favorite. I don't even know which ones you've played.
I've played a lot of the Pokemon games. I think my favorite, I would probably have to go with Sapphire when you were in Gen 3, because I think that's the one that I played the most. I remember I played a lot of Leaf Green when that came out, and of course the older ones for sure. But I think if I had to give just an answer, all the Pokemon games are kind of the same, and I know that's like the biggest issue. It's more about like which gen do you like the most. I think the most hours I have in a Pokemon game is like Ruby or Sapphire or one of those. So
got it. Okay.
Probably one of those. I did play through Legends Arceus, and I have a whole review about that. Basically, I think the game is great. I think what they're trying to do with Pokemon in an open world setting is fantastic, but they keep taking out key elements of Pokemon that drives me insane. In Pokemon Legends Arceus, you can't battle NPCs. So like you don't go to gym badges, you don't fight gym leaders, you just train your Pokemon up for like no reason. It makes no sense. So it's, you know what I mean? Part of the fun.
Yeah, that defeats a lot of the fun to it. I mean, part of the fun is getting the party, getting the Pokemon you want, but then it's battling and leveling them up and making them the best.
You're seeing the fruits of your labor. You're getting able to destroy other NPCs for sure, but there's still something satisfying about it. So
absolutely,
that was the biggest. That's what I'll say about my little input on Pokemon. But sorry, I just had the mic troubles. I could have went into something, but yeah. So nice. He has 2 more we can run through real quick, and then we can wrap it up.
Okay.
Favorite horror movie? Any favorite horror movies, Josh?
Not big on horror. I more enjoy what I would consider thrillers.
Okay.
If I had to pick in horror, the first one that comes to mind that's fairly recent. Oh my gosh, what was it called? I feel like I could tell you a clip of it. There's a woman at the top of the stairs with a candle, and hands come right behind her and clap twice because she was playing hide and seek or something with her like daughters, and their thing was like they would ask for a clap. The Conjuring?
Oh, I think it's The Conjuring. I've never, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm not into those kind of
that
horrors.
Was a good one.
Okay.
Me either, but that was a recent one that I saw. I'm not really big into horror because normally horror to me then falls into like the Saw movies and it just gets gruesome and gross, and I don't get a whole lot of. I do really enjoy thrillers, and I would say the 2 that come to mind, one super old with Shia LaBeouf.
Ooh, tell me. Disturbia?
Oh my God. Disturbia was one of like the first thrillers that I was like, dude, like I forget how old I was, but I really enjoyed that as a kid, and it got my heart pumping. And it's like he like takes his mom, I think, right by the end, and he's like breaking into the house. He's on house arrest, so that was a good one. And then a more recent one I would say is The Invisible Man.
Oh, that was great.
Which I really enjoyed as well. I think that's definitely more of a thriller as well.
You told me, I knew about it, but you told me you watched it and you really liked it, and that's why I was like, oh, I got to get on.
Yes. Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
Nice. Yeah, I'm getting more into horror. I'd like The Conjuring is always the example of like the types of horror that I don't like. I don't like the jump scary, like trying to scare you. Like I like I was talking about this on the Horror Script podcast with my buddy Rich about like the slasher genre, where a lot of it's I kind of get it now, where a lot of it's supposed to be a little bit of corny and cheesy and funny.
Yeah, for sure.
One of my best memories in a movie theater is I remember in 2018 when me and Jason went to go see the Halloween movie, the new Halloween movie, and I've never seen a Halloween movie at that point. And I had so much fun. It was one of the funnest, like me and Jason just in the theater watching Michael Myers like go around and kill people. We were like, oh, like it was fun. It was so much fun. Just like the ridiculous iconic horror, like the Halloween Mike Myers, Freddy Krueger, all the Halloween themed characters I like. But I think if I had to pick a favorite, I was trying to think about this. My favorite horror movie, I probably have a better answer, but right now it was on my favorite movies of all time for a while was Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but I've heard great things.
It's not really like it's a meta horror movie. It's funny. It's got so much in it. It's very. I'm not like that's not a controversial opinion, but I think Cabin in the Woods.
Did you watch the original Paranormal Activity?
Yes. Where were you going with
I
that?
was just curious. I was just curious your thoughts on that. That just popped into my head. Wasn't up there as one of my favorites, but I do remember watching that, and that was definitely a creepy one. It had just a different. I enjoyed how it was like a supposed to be like documentary kind of, right? Like obviously not so at this point we know, but it's a family supposed to be videotaping themselves like going through the stuff. So just I was just curious if you watched that, what you thought about that when you watched it back in the day.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few of the Paranormal Activity movies. I have a big opinion on them. So
Oh, okay.
we actually covered a movie on when we used to do movie recommendations on this podcast. We did cover a movie called The Blair Witch Project, which I think have you heard of that?
Yes, I have.
So the Blair Witch Project was the original Paranormal Activity. We've never seen it before, and we watched it all for the first time, I think all of us. It is insane that movie was from the 90s. It is insane how much Paranormal Activity ripped off their concept. It was
Oh, got it.
verbatim, and the Blair Witch Project is famous for this, like for popularizing the found footage, like documentary style horror movie. So watching it in hindsight, it was like, oh my god, this is literally a Paranormal Activity movie. But they actually had like a little bit more style because it was like the 90s. The Paranormal Activity movies are literally the same fucking thing every movie. And I hate them even more
True.
even after watching Blair Witch and knowing how much they just ripped off the concept. Every Paranormal Activity movie is the first hour and a half or however long is just nothing happens. And it's just getting you comfortable with these characters, a family in their house, and they're doing there's a dad with a camera and he's like filming everything, and it's like nothing's bad could ever happen to these people. Like you can't believe that you're actually watching a horror movie. You can't believe that it's all meant to be very like just getting you in the feels for when it actually happens. And then you get about 5 minutes at the end of very, very scary shit happening on camera. But to me, it's just kind of a gimmick. It's annoying. After good for one movie, don't do it again.
Yeah, I really didn't watch any of the other ones other than the first because I even feel like I knew that they're literally just going to be doing the same thing in all of these movies. It's like the formula is just it's the same. So I don't think I watched any of the other ones other than the first.
They do hit me very well. There is one scene that I think it was in Paranormal Activity 2. It's probably the second most scariest scene I've ever seen in a movie like that, just actually like startles me. It's a scene where there's a girl running into a house where she thinks this killer is, or whoever this person, like the Paranormal Activity is. She runs into this house across the street, right? And she's in this house. It's dark, and she's trying to save her mom because she thinks the mom is in the house with this person that's in there and going to kill them. And she just runs in to try to save her. And of course, she's got the video camera, and the house is all dark. And she's like, "Mom, mom, mom!" And she's like whipping the camera around, running around the hallways in this dark house. And she's like, "Mom!" And she kind of hears someone screaming in the background. And she goes into this one hallway, and she's in this hallway. And at the other end of the hallway, real quick, it's all dark. There's this silhouette of a woman that just walks out real quick to the other end of the hallway. That's like 20 feet away from her. And you just get a brief moment, and it just looks like a regular woman, but you just get a brief moment of pause where you just see this figure walk out into the hallway. And just, it's so unsettling. And then the person just starts sprinting towards the girl, and she just starts, oh, and she just starts running away, and it's like a demon. And that gets me, that scene in that hallway where there's just that pause of this
Yikes.
woman at the other end of the hallway. It's very quick, and there's a very little brief pause. And I remember that got me. It's so unsettling, and it works, but again, not it's an exercise, those movies, in trying to make you just feel very scared and frightened with the found footage and everything, to make you really feel like it's like a video game almost perspective where you feel like you're really in it. But they're not good stories. Like there's nothing
No. Yeah.
there about it. But yeah, so
Cool.
that's
Okay.
what I'll say about that. And then the last question from Jason, I think. This is a good one to end on. Any movies or shows upcoming that you guys are excited for? Or I'll tack on one. Video games, maybe, anything.
I mean, there's a ton of video games, but they're all spaced out in the next 2 to 5 years. So I won't even get into that. TV shows or movies. Honestly, I can't. I'm trying to think. You go first if you've got anything, because I'm trying to think right now.
I'll bounce one off of you because I was trying to think of this too, and I was like, I'm really not excited for. I'm to the point now, and this is kind of a side note. I saw the Thor: Love and Thunder teaser trailer, and I was so excited for it. I saw the full trailer. I'm not excited for this movie at all. I think it's gonna suck.
I don't know if I saw the full trailer, but I was excited for it.
Sorry, I didn't. I'm so done with Marvel, man. I'm so done. Like, it's to the point where I can't even enjoy. I was so excited. I thought the first teaser trailer for Thor was great, and I did a whole rant on one of my solo episodes about the trailer. And there was but yeah, the full trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder I thought was god awful. So
I mean, I think what we should do at this point is we should plan a whole episode where we just rant and absolutely just demolish the Marvel universe and just complain about everything that bothers us. Because if one thing bothers me more than anything, it is how the Marvel universe has destroyed some of my favorite characters and then has elevated other characters that I think are stupid and I hate. And my dad and me have literally gotten arguments about Captain America. And I can't stand. So we're going to have to do a whole episode on this because I can't get started now because I got to get ready.
Right.
But we should just, and one of the things that I did see, I think I did see the full trailer, is one of the things that's always bothered me is that I do feel that they are taking away some of the things that make Thor special. And in the first Thor movie, he had his dilemma. He couldn't pick up the hammer, but now he can. And I think in the first movie, they talk about whatever the quote is or whatever the writing is, only someone who can be named Thor, who is worthy of being called Thor, should be able to pick up this hammer, right? So now I've seen Captain America pick up the hammer. Okay, so apparently he can be called Thor and he can control lightning. Don't get me started on that. And now I've got Natalie Portman, right? Didn't she have the hammer?
Right, that was part of my
We're taking away, in my opinion, some of the things that just make Thor special. That's what makes Thor Thor. Thor's nothing if he's not the one with the hammer and the abilities. Then he's just a schmuck drinking beer with a beer belly, which we saw in Endgame. Right? He's nothing. So the fact that, and the hammer then got destroyed at one point, right, by his sister. Okay, whatever. I can get on board with that. Then Captain America's running around with it. Now Natalie Portman's going to have it.
It's not special anymore.
It doesn't feel to me. So I'm still going to go watch it because I've always enjoyed Thor. Thor and Iron Man have always been my two boys. So if they ever come out with a movie about them, I'm going to go watch it. But
I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
I don't have high hopes, just like all the Marvel movies at this point. So
I'm to the point where I never wanted this podcast to just be the Marvel and Star Wars podcast. We're gonna talk about it a lot. That's fine, but I just think I'm to the point where I'm sick of just complaining about it all the time. I think I am just going to skip some things, and I think Marvel, it really is. I don't know how much more people are going to like. I don't think it's getting to the point where people are not really watching these Disney shows as much. Like, barely anyone watched Moon Knight. That was barely, because there's so many of them now, and they're just not special anymore, and there's just too many, and they're not doing team ups anymore. It's just like, when are they going to connect? It's too much. What the fuck did you say? Okay, that's actually hilarious. I'll post that on the Instagram story. That's fucking hilarious. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to enjoy more content that I enjoy, and I have such a watch list built up of movies on Letterboxd of old stuff that I haven't seen from directors that I want to watch. I'm like, I want to spend more time watching that with the little free time I have. So that's kind of where I'm at. But so what was the question? Oh yeah, anything that we're excited for.
Yeah, you said that show-wise, I can't think of anything, and then you said that movie. So that's gonna be my answer. I'm gonna take from you is the Thor: Love and Thunder.
I think most of the movies that I have, new movies that I've been excited for, have actually already come out.
Okay.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, I need to rewatch at home. I did a whole rant about that on a solo episode. I really want to watch The Northman. Everyone's talking about that. I didn't get to see that in theaters, so that's one that's already out. So I don't really know if there's much else that I can think of off the top of my head. One thing that I am TV-wise excited to see, I want to see what they're going to do with the Last of Us TV show. I didn't get to experience seeing the disappointment of Joel's head getting bashed in season.
Well, that's The Last of Us 2.
Season 2.
No.
I want to experience Last of Us, Josh, and I want to, and maybe I is the show not where to go to experience this story?
No, not at all. Not at all. I can't imagine it will be. So I've always struggled with The Last of Us, just because when I think back about it, we've seen Game of Thrones, right? You watch season 1 and you're like, okay, cool. It's about like the blah blah blah, but like Ned Stark feels like it's the main character, right?
Mm-hmm.
They killed Ned Stark at the end of the season, right? And you're like, at least for me, I didn't have that spoiled to me. I was like, in disbelief. I was like, I've never seen a show where I literally thought that this was the main character. We're killing him season 1.
Yeah.
But the show like recovers, or I don't even know if recovers the best word, but it's able to continue on
and builds up all the other characters.
Care. Yeah, and it's still so much like you get so much enjoyment, and I still think it's a great TV show. So The Last of Us, we'll say season 1 or the first game, right? It's about 2 characters. It's about Joel and Ellie. And so then season 2, or the second Last of Us Part 2, it's called, comes out, and they kill Joel, which, if I use the Game of Thrones analogy, it's shocking, and I think it shocked a lot of people. I personally don't feel that they recovered. Now, let me say this too, and I'll challenge anybody. I have not actually played The Last of Us Part 2. But I don't think I have to, because that game has never been a gameplay type of game. That is a story game. I've watched full playthroughs. I know the story. I played The Last of Us, the first one, but before it, I watched some playthrough, but I didn't have the ending spoiled to me. And then the ending was pretty cool for the first one. I've always told non-video game people, if you are not into video games, that's fine. If you want to watch an amazing story in a video game, just watch somebody play The Last of Us.
That's a good.
Yeah. I think it's like you're not gonna play it, but I still think it's probably one of the most enjoyable games to just watch. I don't think it's super heavy on gameplay. If somebody be like, "Oh, the game," like if you were to tell me that The Last of Us is heavy on gameplay and that's why it's a great game, I think you're so wrong. I don't know. I don't even think that's an opinion. I think that's just facts. The gameplay is nothing special. It's an amazing story. So I've watched all of The Last of Us Part 2, and it's like they killed Ned at the very beginning, and I didn't feel like they recovered it. I felt like it was more of a political standpoint where they just introduced this new character who had her own agenda. She was bisexual, and it was just like, let's throw in all of this, and you literally end up playing as the quote like bad character. So that's like if you were playing season 2 of Game of Thrones. Now Ned is dead, so you're playing as Arya and Rob,
or even worse, Bran.
Halfway, well, Bran's, I think Bran's in a coma all of season 2. I don't remember.
You're just laying in a bed for the entire, you press X to like, water.
But imagine getting halfway through this imaginary video game of Game of Thrones in season 2, and now you're playing as Joffrey. And the game is trying to make you sympathize and care about Joffrey. And you go, no, this guy's a dick. Like, no, I don't care. I want him dead. I don't want to sympathize for him. He's the bad guy. And that is what The Last of Us Part 2 does. it makes you play. And I know we both listened to The Last Stand, and Colin loves that game. It's his number one PS4 game, and
Part 2?
Part 2.
Oh,
yeah,
hot take.
He loved it. And I just disagree so much, but to each their own. He thought it hit the nail on the head on a lot of things, and I did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy it, and playing the game is not going to change my mind because it's a story driven game. So
that's interesting. I never really actually thought about that, because it's right. I mean, I know so much about The Last of Us story. I mean, that game was so hyped up. I know so much about all of it. It was another one where I'm like, I'm missing out on this. But so I was thinking, okay, when the show comes out, it's probably going to be a horrible representation, but it's HBO. That's hopeful. They're prestige TV. I like HBO.
True.
They're my favorite.
Yep.
So if anyone's going to do it right, it'll be them. Probably still no. Probably not going to be good. But I never really thought of it that way. You made a good point. I didn't even think, if they do season 1 of this show and it's just supposed to be The Last of Us Part 1, how do you really watch that show and get into it? Like me, as someone who I want to experience the story, but I've never played the games, but I know the story. I know that Joel dies at the beginning of season 2, basically. So why would I spend time getting invested in Joel when I'm like, well, he's just going to die?
And I don't know if it's going to be an exact just like replication of the story of the first one. I don't know if it's going to branch off. There's supposed to be a pretty big time gap between the first and the second game. Like Ellie gets significantly older in the second game, and there is a quick chapter where you kind of play as Joel that like kind of fills in a little bit of the gaps.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like you play like as a as a flashback after the first, but before the second one really starts. Because in the second one, Ellie, I don't know. I think in the first one, Ellie's supposed to be like 12 or 14, and Ellie in the second one's like 18 or 20, and she starts, she meets a female lover or significant other, whatever you want to call her, and then the story kind of goes on, and it's just, it's maybe it's going to fill in the time gap, because if it is just we're going to take the story of the first one, I just feel that everybody is going to just be like, we already heard the story in video game form. We don't need to see it again in TV form. So I think they have to do something different, and whether it's the gap in between, or I don't know what else they could do.
Just the interest in seeing how they adapt it into TV. And you got Pedro Pascal playing Joel, who I'm sure will be great. He's the Mandalorian is playing Joel.
I just for me, the voice actor that plays Joel is Joel.
Does he look like Joel? Like, could he play Joel, you think?
No, not at all. What's his name? He does a lot of big roles.
Gotcha.
He did voice? Oh, it's like Troy Baker.
Oh, I've heard him. Yeah,
Troy Baker.
I've heard of him.
He's like a tall, skinny dude. He looks nothing like Joel's like a bigger, older, like burly
what
dude.
are you gonna do if you're making a show?
Exactly, right? I understand that, right? It's like, but I mean, that is Joel. So it's like for me too with Uncharted, it's like Nolan North plays what's his face? The guy in Uncharted. I can't blanking on the name.
Nathan Drake.
Nathan Drake, yes. And so when you see Mark Wahlberg and freaking Spider-Man playing these characters, it's tough for a video game person to accept these characters. But it is what it is. I'm curious to see what they do. I will definitely check it out, but once again, I have zero expectations for it. I do not think it's going to be good.
This is just an interesting thought I've had recently, and I was thinking about this question about how Pedro Pascal is playing Joel, and he was the Mandalorian. He's in Game of Thrones, and he's in a bunch of other stuff. It's really weird how it really feels like, and you just mentioned like Nathan Drake or Uncharted being Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland. It is really crazy now how it just feels like we only have like 10 actors in Hollywood that can play everything in the blockbusters. I don't like that. I feel like it's very weird that we have like this pool of like a dozen actors that just play all the roles now. And when you have that, I feel like it gets so much more, it takes you out of the story you're watching. When you watch Uncharted, you don't feel like you're watching Nathan Drake or whoever the hell Tom Holland played, you feel like you're watching Tom Holland, like Spider-Man. Like when I see Dwayne The Rock Johnson play like Black Adam, like I feel like I'm just seeing The Rock. The bigger these stars get, so I just feel like sometimes, again, I'll say I watch a show like Stranger Things where it's a lot of actors that, I mean, Winona Ryder and David Harbour, yeah, they're recognizable actors, but I feel like sometimes it's better when shows have actors that are just very good at being characters and they're not these big, huge celebrities. Because these big, huge celebrities, especially when you're adapting IP where you have an idea in your head of the character, I almost feel like it'd be better if Joel was being played by a non-actor, because it almost feels like I feel like I'm not going to be seeing Joel if I played the video game and I knew him. I feel like I would just more be watching Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian, you know, like I'm not going to see that character, especially when you're talking about IP that you've already experienced before. So, yeah, man, it's interesting. So,
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. So, I think that that about wraps everything up. Thank you, Jason, for the questions. Appreciate it. Keep sending them in. I don't care. I don't care if they're from Jason every time. If they're interesting, and I'll answer all of them. So if you guys want to leave us a question again, hit us up on Instagram. Next Round on Me Pod. It's up there if you're watching this live. So yeah, if you and follow us on YouTube and Twitch, you can interact with us when we record the episodes live. All the links are in our description and everything. You can find them easily. You're not stupid, you know where to find the links. So but thanks for watching, everyone. I feel like there was something else I was forgetting, of course, but no, I think that's about it. I don't know. So next week we'll be back. Ask us some questions, and I love you all. Take care, everyone. Stay safe from monkeypox.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Imagine I died. What happened? Oh, my uncle died from monkeypox. Could you imagine that as your obituary? All right. Bye, everyone. I love you.
Take care, guys.
Okay. If we get the same audio, I'm so happy that and we have